Let's now look up the contest when we click on it. Right now, the route changes, but the content doesn't. So we're going to start changing the content here. In particular, when I click on a contest, after I change the route, I want to look up the contest. I want to be able to put things on the state that are related to that contest that I just clicked. However, the contest structure is an array. So right now, API/contests give me an array. And if I want to look up an item using the ID of that item, I have to scan the array. And that's not very efficient. What we can do before doing anything related to contest lookup is to change this structure from an array into an object. And once I have it as an object, my lookup will be a constant time operation. So this is what I'm going to do first. I'm going to go to the API module. And in here, when I return the data as an array, let's convert it into an object. There are many ways to do so. The easiest way is just to reduce this array into an object. Reduce give me a function in the first argument, and we'll start with an empty object. The function is going to expose the object that we're going to return, and in every iteration we have a contest object. Assign it as a property on this object with the key being the contest ID, and the value is the contest itself, and we need to return the object here. So this very simply map the array into an object with the IDs being the contest's IDs and the values being the actual contest objects. Let's actually test. As you can see, we have every contest now is a key value pair on this contest's object. Of course, instead of doing this conversion here on the request itself, we can extract it into a variable. So we put this variable on server load, let's call it contests. And we use the same conversion. So in here, contests is going to be a ready object. And for every request, I could just use that object. So we do this operation once, and then we reuse it. So that's much better. But this is all not very super important because we are going to change our in-memory data structure to work with MongoDB very soon. Of course, we need to change our application to now read from an object instead of an array. In here, the contests get passed to the contest list. So I don't think we need to do any changes here. In the contest list, the contests variable is now an object, not an array, and we're doing a map operation on it. So this has to change. And what we can do is we can iterate over the keys of that object. So object.keys for contests, and this would expose a contest ID now. And inside here, we can use the ID directly. And for the contest itself, we have to look it up from the ID that gets exposed on this loop. So contests for this contest ID. And also contests here is now an object, not an array anymore. So let's test. Going back here, we refresh, and it looks like things are working because we have a contest object here and the application is rendering. I would also test it offline. Should always do that. It looks like it's working offline as well. Very cool. So now that I have an object as my data structure, I can very simply look it up here with a constant time operation. So the actual contest that we're navigating to is going to be this.state.contests, looking up the current contest ID that we're navigating to. So what I want to do, I want to change the state, set state. Let's start with the page header. So the page header, when we navigate to a contest, is going to be the current contest ID dot contest name. And I think we can actually test that. So clicking on this contest, there you go. So now that we changed the title, let's go ahead and try to change the content as well. To change the content, I have to do a condition statement here and say something like, do we have an active contest? Do we have a current contest? So to do so, I'm going to also place the current contest ID on the state as well. So now when I click on a contest, not only I get the header here, I also get the current contest ID, which means I can replace this with a conditional now and say, if there is a current contest ID on the state, then go ahead and display contest information. Otherwise, display the contest list information. So to do so, I'm going to take this code here and place it in an instance function. So this dot, let's call this current content. So this is a function that I'm invoking directly. So I'll define it here, current content. This can be a direct method here. And it will have an if statement and return either a contest component or the contest list component that we just removed from the render method. So let's figure out this condition. This condition would be, do we have a current contest ID on the state? If we do, then we need to return a contest component. Otherwise, we just return a contest list. Of course, a contest component is going to need the contest object to display. So let's spread a contest object here on this new contest component. This contest object would be this.state.contests for this.state.current contest ID. And we want to spread this guy in here, just like that. So let's actually create this new contest component. This component will be a new file. We'll call it contest.js. And this component will do a lot of things. It will handle events. So I think it's safer to go with a class syntax. So we have contest, and we need to import React. I'm going to go ahead and destructure both component and prop types. And we need to export default contest. And for now, let's just put a placeholder here and just display the contest ID. So this.props.id. The ID would be contest.proptypes. We're using the ID, which is proptypes.number is required. Proptypes is a value here. And I think we can actually test. Let me fix this small syntax problem here. And we need to import contest. And this is looking good. Let's try and test. So when we click on this free programming books contest, not only do I get the URL change, but I also get the ID of the contest in this new contest component.